This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Live from Orlando, Florida, and Cincinnati, Ohio, it's time!
Welcome to the Fight Club Rejects podcast. I'm Tom. I'm joined here by Derek, and we are the Fight Club Rejects. If you're looking for the best MMA fight analysis, betting odds, anything MMA fighting analysis and inside scoop, you are in exactly the wrong place.
Yeah, you made a wrong turn. Turn around. Go somewhere else.
We don't do that. If you're looking for the best storylines, fighter nicknames, certified bloodbath fights on the upcoming card, and all the fun MMA drama you can handle, we'll do.
In a pinch.
We'll do in a pinch. Yeah. We're here for all of you casual fans who want to watch fights. You want to watch the early prelims. You want to watch the prelims. You don't want to just watch the main event. And we're going to make it interesting for you by telling you all of the hot goss. I'm told that's something that people say now to mean like
I've heard that.
Gossip and drama. And everything that we think makes these fights interesting beyond the punching, wrestling, choking, arm snapping, blood drawing, fighting stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, you know, I talk about him too much on this podcast, but Chael, you know, talks about like the storyline is like what gets people to tune in, you know, like it's I guess fun to watch like two complete strangers in the subway or something brawl, but like if you know the guys and you're invested in them, you know their story. One of them maybe
their beef
legally changed their name to King, and you're like, oh, I want to see that guy get beat up. Like, then you're more into it.
Yeah, Chael Sonnen can be talked about as many times as we want on this podcast. Because he's like the patron saint of the Fight Club Rejects.
He is.
So
yeah, it's true.
He gets
In fact,
to talk.
When you look up our podcast on Spotify, it says you may also like Chael's podcast. So
does it actually?
We're essentially, yeah, I did that.
You looked this up. You Googled
I
us?
manually put what other podcasts might be similar and just put that one. So that's me, not Spotify, but it's true nonetheless.
It is so true. We're basically the same thing. So, with slightly better nasal passage. Well, me at least I have slightly better breathing. So, yeah. So that's us. That's what we got going on. Ahead of UFC 304 coming up this weekend. Better late than never. Here we are talking about it.
Yeah. It really kind of snuck up on me. In my head, I thought we had another week.
Yeah, I did too. And I think that I missed... Actually, today might be the deadline to buy the pay-per-view and get $10 off.
Oh, okay.
I keep forgetting. I should just, like, buy all of them in advance because I know I'm going to end up buying them, so... yeah. So, interesting fight card here. We've gone through 2 weeks of pretty universally accepted terrible cards, I think. I didn't get to watch last week's, or the week before, I think. I saw Raul Rosas Jr. won the main event last week. So.
I was like, what are you talking about? We saw him fight in Louisville. But, yes, he did. His eyes were the loser of that same fight that he himself won. But
I'll drop an image right here of who we're talking about. I'm making fun a little bit of the lady who won the main event.
Honestly, I feel bad, and I thought it was just a bad picture, but
no.
In a lot of other pictures, it's the same.
She's got bisping eyes.
Is one fake?
I don't know.
I don't think you could get away with that anymore. I think Bisping kind of closed that door for everybody else.
What's the difference in not being able to see and looking over there the whole time when somebody's in front of you?
I mean, maybe you can see like the check hooks coming from the side a little better. Maybe it's an advantage.
Yeah, she's like watching the corner of the other team talk about like to coach her what to do. It gives her an unfair advantage.
Maybe if she loses a fight and just gets, you know, punched in the head 86 times, it'll scramble, you know, things back straight.
I think that's Christmas Vacation, right? Like, gets kicked in the head by a donkey, her eyes go cross, falls in a well, they go back. So, I don't know how she got cross eyes. I don't know where she's from. If it's Brazil, very likely did get kicked in the head by a donkey. So,
I think she is from Brazil. But anyway, that's enough bashing on that poor lady.
I wanted to talk about how this week leads up to the real RNC. The rear naked choke.
Indeed.
Hopefully. That's the joke that I got. That's politically relevant for anybody who's paying attention, following along. And also ties into fighting.
Yeah.
So
what a wild week of politics it's been.
Yeah, that could be another podcast.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Should we dive into the early prelims?
Let's get into fights. Early prelims. I think we're trying a little bit of a new format, right? So we're not going to go through every single prelim because it's just candidly not. It's just not enough interesting stuff going on in this one to go through all of it.
Yeah, just give us the high level overview. So you've got some notes here.
Yeah. I was stuck in North Carolina with the massive tech outage, and so I was just kind of opened up the laptop and went through some stuff. We've got some cool nicknames that we'll talk about, I think, at some point. But just some highlights. Shauna Bannon should know broke a girl's arm the first time she tried jiu-jitsu, so that's kind of cool.
How does that work? Was it another white belt?
She had been training MMA for a while, I believe, and then goes with her coach to do jiu-jitsu and is doing some jiu-jitsu and ends up I think that it's not as cool as it sounds. I think the girl fell, and the way she fell, she snapped her arm. But it's still a pretty cool thing to be able to go tell people that you broke somebody's arm the first time you did jiu-jitsu. So check out Shauna.
Tell me about, I don't want to take too long here, but tell me about this footprint situation in the fight before that. I'm looking at it on X.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't have the audio because I'm not interrupting us. So,
yeah, Modelo Bukakis, the Baltic Gladiator. And to be clear, I did not pronounce his name correct.
Really seems like, or Bukauskas. That I mean, I don't know where he's from. Somewhere in the Baltics, I guess. But just the name, even if you didn't have Baltic in his nickname, you would think, that guy's country has had a civil war, within our lifetime almost, if not right before we were born.
That bro's seen some stuff. Yeah, he fought Vitor Pedrino, and you could actually see very clearly during the fight at one point he had a kick that he hit flush with the flat of his foot onto Vitor's thigh, and it left a very clear outline of his foot on Vitor's leg. I don't think he won that fight. I think Pedrino won that fight.
But that was the other guy, Marcin Prachnio, right?
I don't know what I'm saying. What am I saying? Yeah, Prachnio left a footprint on Vitor's leg. Yeah, the Baltic Gladiator did not do that I know of. I couldn't find much on him, to be honest with you.
He's just worth mentioning because of his name and his nickname, which
the
we
Baltic
might be coming
Gladiator.
back to that nickname later.
Yeah, totally agree. Sam Patterson going on down the card. Dana White Contender Series winner. Fights Kiefer Crosby. Crosby had to back out of the fight against Themba Gorimbo, who you might recognize as the guy that The Rock bought a house for. And then Themba got really upset because in the lead up to that fight, Kiefer was calling him a moocher. And if you see the video where Themba's very upset about this and you hear the way he says moocher, it's worth watching. It's worth Googling and looking up. Anyway, Kiefer, I was like, oh, there's some cool beef here. There's a cool storyline. Depending on what you thought of that whole situation with The Rock, Kiefer's a guy that you can root against. And then he came out with a long Instagram post that talked about how he was just kind of kidding around and trying to spice up the fight and stuff. And so that kind of is a little bit of a letdown on the drama side. Christian Leroy Duncan, amazing fighter name. CLD is his nickname. Fights RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez from Brazil. He fought Chidi and just absolutely cracked his eyebrows open and had this massive horse meat scar or horse meat guts.
So that's
coming out.
Rodriguez there, right? That's
Rodriguez
RoboCop
did. Yeah.
with the cut.
Yep, exactly.
It's, I mean, do you think that's an advantage almost? Because if you look at it, it's essentially a second mouth that he can breathe through.
Yeah, exactly. And like, think about how much cooler his head is with all of that airflow coming up over his brain.
Directly into his cranium.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know the outcome of that fight. I can't imagine they let it continue after that.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But the
doesn't
picture
seem...
we're looking at, he's smiling, so that's really something. I guess adrenaline. Oban, the Welsh gangsta Elliot, also signed from the Contender Series. He actually seems like this incredibly lovable guy. He has the most ridiculous accent that you've ever heard. His dad died in 2005, and he got shorts made to honor him when he was like coming up in some of the other promotions. Obviously, the UFC doesn't let you wear custom shorts unless they make them. It's kind of a different thing. But he got 2005 tattooed on his arm. That's the year that his dad died, so that's cool. He did say some fun things leading up to his fight with Preston Pressure Parsons. Preston Pressure Parsons.
Where is Preston Pressure Parsons from? Because
Pressure Parsons, I believe, is from Paraguay. I'm kidding. I have no idea. Hopefully he's from someplace that starts with a P, right? Okay, it's loading. He is from Jacksonville Beach, Florida. So.
Duval? They say that up there.
Yeah. Football guys. Yeah, he did say some stuff in the lead up. He said he's more than capable of whooping him. So hopefully Preston takes a little exception to that. And then he also said, if you've got any money, bet on me Saturday. So the dude is just jacked to the nines. He's all excited about this. I couldn't find much on Preston Pressure Parsons. So we'll have to see what happens with this one.
I do see that link you have from X of his fight with Val Woodburn. That
yes.
Looks exciting. Val Woodburn is the guy that stepped in to fight Bo Nickel on short notice. Not in Bo's last fight, but I think the fight before that. He trains
as a ritual sacrifice.
Like, up the street from me. Woodburn.
You train with him. Derek trains with Val Kilmer. So,
wait, Val Kilmer. See, the Batman, right?
Yeah, actually, Val Kilmer, Batman, Top Gun fame. Also,
yeah.
Maybe. So
he was Iceman in Top Gun, right?
Yes, Iceman.
Okay.
Yes, and
gotcha.
then
now I'm tracking.
Iceman R.I.P. in Top Gun 2.
Ooh, let me tell you, Father Time has not been as kind to Val Kilmer as he's been to Tom Cruise.
Well, also throat cancer was not as kind, or some kind of cancer. I think he got like jaw cancer or something like that. He had some kind of bout
did not
with
know
cancer
that.
Really, yeah. But also, Tom Cruise is almost certainly drinking like unicorn blood or something to keep himself young.
Something.
That's a Harry Potter reference for all those keeping track at home on your bingo card.
I've totally missed it. Read the books, but missed it.
I think that in the first one, I don't know, somebody was drinking unicorn blood to keep himself young. I think it was the guy who...
That sounds right.
Whatever. This is not a Harry Potter podcast. Nathaniel
They'll
Wood...
come for us in the comments if it's wrong. The Harry Potter fans will find us.
Let us know in the comments whether we got that right or wrong. Daniel Pineda is fighting Nathaniel Wood. Daniel Pineda loves being the underdog, especially in his hometown. Nathaniel Wood is from the UK. He says at 3 a.m. in the morning, excited to go out there and make everybody's jaw just drop when I finish him. And Daniel Pineda is a new dad to a preemie baby, especially cute preemie baby who's doing great now. So he felt good about coming over and taking this fight. I'm sure he's going to, like, if he wins, dedicate it to his son. So something to watch out for there. I think it's his son. Man, I don't know. I just assume.
So many fighters obviously have children, but I feel like it's an easy thing to kind of forget about. Like that. Gosh, that's like last weekend. I don't know if you watched any of the card from the Apex last weekend.
Unfortunately.
But Kurt Hollabaugh.
I like the Apex fights. Hollabaugh, I like that guy.
His whole family was there, including like two, elementary school age sons who do jujitsu, and like, cause the Apex is so quiet, you could hear them like screaming the whole time. And Hollabaugh won the fight, so that was cool. But like, oh man, that's That's rough. Like, just thinking about all these, you know, men and women who have kids and thinking about how their kids must feel when they see them lose.
Dude, the Diamond Poirier, his kid's standing there sobbing when he comes off. Oh man, that's got to be tough.
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Kind of like Mark Zuckerberg's wife. Have you seen the video of her ringside watching an MMA fight with Zuckerberg? She's like, can't look. Hilarious. Molly Meatball McCann, Bruna Brazil. Brazil came from the Contender Series. Molly works out with Patty the Batty, so that's kind of cool.
Yep.
And I'm probably going to visit this a little bit later, but there is a picture. I don't know. You can kind of scroll down and see it right now. That is absolutely unbelievable of Patty. We'll talk about that in a second. She's got an interesting story. She started MMA after her friends like poured her into a car, drunk off her rear, and then she goes home and like starts eating snacks and watching a Ronda Rousey fight. And thought, I want to do that, and went and quit college the next day and signed up for a gym and started doing MMA. Yeah,
funny story. That's the exact same way that Derek Lewis got into MMA.
No, really? His friends poured him into a car and he watched Ronda Rousey? Did she ask about me?
He was eating snacks watching Ronda Rousey. He said, I need to get me some of that.
Yeah. Woohoo! Okay, next
Bruna
fight on
Brazil.
Here. Yeah.
Did you make that name up?
No, I did not.
Tell me.
No, she is, let me see.
Tell me
her
true.
Nickname? Tell me true. Bruna Brazil.
Anyway,
the special
next fight.
one. Bruna the special
what
one
a name.
Brazil. I know.
I assume she's from Brazil.
You would think, right?
Certainly.
I kind of don't want to click because Verdict wasn't working very well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd rather...
It broke.
I'd rather not know.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. How do you think you pronounce this guy's name? Howlin? Logren? Cowlin?
Is he Irish or Welsh? Probably Irish based on the little clover there, I'm thinking.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. And he's fighting Jake the White Kong Hadley. So Hadley took this fight on 7 days' notice. This is no Dan Ige, but that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is pretty studly. So what happened to Tavares?
I think that he got hurt or something. He had a really long LinkedIn post, and it was one of those, you know, that meme like, I ain't gonna read all that, but that sounds, I'm happy for you, or sorry to hear that. It's one of those moments. So something happened there. He retweeted Cowlin's interview, so he kind of seems like a nice guy. He was like on his Twitter, he retweeted the interview with no comment. So I think it was just kind of like tweeting his opponent coming up to the fight. Not a whole lot of beef there. Cowlin did say, what is this? Oh yeah, Cowlin was talking trash about Ramon Tavares. He's like, Techni's hands just pulled out. I texted him a few days after the bout was signed saying he would. So after the bout was signed, he's like, you're going to pull out. This game's not for everybody. The UFC are the best in the world, and they'll sort it. Been here before, will fight anyone. You know that.
Dude, I don't know this kid, but I like him. I like...
Me too.
I don't know. I mean, I'm watching this video right now that you showed of him weighing in at UFC Paris and just what he thinks of the French crowd. And... you know, he's got some moxie.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Not a fan of the French.
Let's suffice it to say.
Not a fan of the French. And if you're not a fan of the French, I'm a fan of you. So he also called out Raul Rosas Jr. After UFC Atlantic City. I feel like a dickhead calling out an 18-year-old lad, but we're in the same position. I think I'll punch his head in. So it's kind of fun. Yeah. So I don't know. Cowlin's kind of a fun guy. I'd watch him. I think he'll be an entertaining watch. I think that'll be a fun fight.
I think I'm pulling for him now for sure.
Yeah, me too.
This next fight, I just skimming down. I like had to stifle laughter here while we were recording. I just saw your note was just virtually unintelligible. Tell me about that. He's got like a Liverpool accent or something.
Yeah, Mick Parkin, his accent is virtually, like, unintelligible.
Yeah, like I said, obviously when I was training and fighting, like, local show, people were telling me who good and stuff like that, and then I have a little bit of belief, then I started training with some high-level guys, and I was...
If there weren't subtitles, you would have no idea what he's saying.
I don't know anything about, like, the different accents in different parts of the UK, but where does Aspinall train? Does he train in London? This guy is not from London.
No, he's not from London, but I don't think that country is very big. I think it's an island.
No.
I think so. It's connected by a channel, whatever that is, which I just assume is a short, fat tunnel.
What if it's an island?
Sorry.
What if too many people run to one side of it and it tips over?
I think that happened one time, and I think that St. Patrick had to come and get everybody all sorted out with or was that the Pied Piper? I don't know. So yeah, I don't know where Aspinall works out or where this guy works out, but I'm pretty sure they work out together. And he's hard to understand, exactly. So those are the prelims, Derek. What do you think?
All right. I like it. I got a couple people that I didn't really care about before this, like especially Cowlin Log. I can't wait to hear how his name is actually pronounced for the first time when I'm watching this Saturday night, and just compare to how we did.
Can we just have a quick shout out to the man himself, Bruce Buffer, who never mispronounces a name?
I know.
You know? He never does. Actually, the thing is though, if Bruce Buffer mispronounces your name, it's no longer mispronounced.
That's true. It just changes.
Yeah. So, should we talk about the main card?
Let's do it.
We were talking about this earlier today, and I actually think that there's some intrigue, or that each one of these fights and fighters is worth talking about, except Leon Edwards and Bilal Muhammad. So maybe you could talk about them, because I just didn't take any notes on them. But
I'll do my best.
Okie-doke. Starting with Arnold Almighty Allen, UK guy, against Giga Ninja Chikadze. I'm really trying hard not to say chimpanzee. Chikadze. So Arnold, he and his dad work out. They have some incredible YouTube content. Have you seen them?
No, I haven't. I've seen him and his dad before in some post-fight interviews and stuff like that, but never seen any of the YouTube content. I'll have to check that out.
His dad is like his strength training coach. Ex-doorman, was in prison for like a week, but it still is fun to talk about how he's in prison. And they just their YouTube content is all them lifting in their backyard in England. And since the fight is at 3 a.m., he's already adjusted his schedule, and his dad's been waking up with him and working out at 3 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Giga Chad is a liver kicker. Nina Drama called him the ovary crusher when he gave her a 20% kick, demoed on her, and he's from Georgia, the country, not the state. The Giga kick.
Oh, man. Georgia has produced some entertaining characters for us in recent years.
Yeah. Yeah, both Georgias, the country and the state. So, okay. I'm particularly excited about this next fight. Mohammed the Punisher Mokaev. Is that how you say his name? It is now. Mokaev versus
Giga
Manel.
Chikadze. This is the last one.
That's how you say it? Chikadze?
Yeah.
Did I get that wrong?
Yeah, I think.
I don't care.
Anyway.
Nobody knows how to pronounce these guys' names.
Back to
Mohammed Mokaev, the Punisher, and Manel Cape?
Cape.
Cape? Look it up. See, pronounce it yourself. Okay, so
anyway,
there's beef here. We got some beef. So Jean Silva, who, by the way, fought like 2 cards in a row with a week off, I think. I think he fought 2 fights in 1 month and won both. He was at UFC training with Manuel. I don't know how to say his name. And he said that that Kape caught Mokaev at the entrance to the UFC Performance Institute and headbutted him and threw an elbow on him and busted his head open in the parking lot because of some disagreement they had a week before not this fight, but a different fight. And apparently Mokaev is saying that, he's like, I'm going to catch... These guys have some kind of beef leading up to this. The Punisher, Mokaev, is also the same dude who got into an unbelievable and incredible knee bar, escaped, and then later won the fight. And we'll put the picture up here so you can see.
I remember watching that live. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you were too, because we were talking about it. And I mean, for some reason, that's worse to me than when Kevin Holland broke Mikhail Olachechuk's arm 6 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago or whenever it was.
Yeah.
Like that, watching Chaychuk's arm turn into kind of like a noodle and go away, it wasn't supposed to, is one thing, but like,
Yeah.
just the angle of Mukhayev's knee there is, I mean, it's amazing to me that didn't have to retire from the sport after that.
I thought he ruined his career. He was like limping all over and talking about how he could hear it tearing while he was in that knee bar, and then somehow won. I forget exactly how he won. I think he won by submission, didn't he? Maybe
I think he did,
the real
yeah.
RNC, rear naked choke, perhaps. So this fight, I'm told, is now the featured prelim. I've got some inside data from Twitter, but I'm not quite sure. I haven't seen that updated on anybody else's place, so we'll see what happens. I don't know. If they're moving fights around, it could be kind of fun to see if some chaos happens. But also, the Punisher thinks that he didn't become the youngest UFC champ because they didn't want him to break John Jones' record, which is, I think the guy's a good fighter, but I don't think he's that good.
Yeah, I would. I would venture to guess that he didn't become the youngest UFC champion ever because he's not. Is he even ranked?
He's on the main card, so probably, right?
Let's find out. We can keep going, but
Yeah. You look that up, and I'll talk to you a little bit about Cape Cape. He, just so everybody knows, denies that he ever hit the Punisher, and he says that John Silva is great at adding a little spice to the fight, but not everybody's convinced that nothing happened there.
He's
so.
number 6 in the rankings.
Hey, here we go. So maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Gosh, I feel like he kind
Could
of
get up there.
snuck up there.
Yeah. Okay, King Bobby Green or Bobby King Green is now King Bobby Green. Do you think his nickname's Bobby now?
I mean, I saw on Verdict it said King Green and his nickname was King. So he might be King Green.
King Green? So he changed his name legally, right?
I've never seen somebody's actual name change on all of the UFC promotional materials or whatever without it being a legal name change.
Right.
Like Ian Machado Gary.
Only exception might be Zombie. But I think that they still put his last name on there. I don't think they put Zombie.
Yeah, what his name? Chan Sung Jung is his like real name, I think.
No idea.
I think on like the bottom, graphic where they show the name and the time and the round and stuff, I think it usually said like Chan Sung Jung or
it didn't say his Zombie or anything. So, King Green is fighting Patty the Batty Pimblett. We went back and forth a little bit about how lovable Patty was and how exciting he was to watch fight. And then you know more about this than I do, but like has kind of fallen out of the good graces of a lot of MMA fans.
He had a meteoric rise in popularity. I mean, like
Truly.
His first, however many fights in the UFC, you hadn't seen that much hype, I feel like, about a newcomer since Conor McGregor. And,
right.
He was winning and everything's going really well. But then, he had the fight with Jared Gordon that was extremely close, that many people thought he lost and was kind of protected from or whatever. And then he had the scandal come out about how he was kind of on his high horse thinking he was so popular and wanting to charge MMA journalists for interviews. And that just doesn't sit well with people at all. And so now, like, he's kind of popular, but there's a lot of people that hate him. And I feel like his stock has certainly fallen from its all-time high of when it looked like he could be the next face of the UFC almost.
Yeah. And I will say, the last fight that he fought, I was not rooting for him. I think he fought Tony Ferguson. And it was an incredibly boring fight, and I think that he definitely won it. And he even kind of did apologize to the fans after it, if memory serves. But I do think I'm going to be rooting for him in this fight because King Green is a 40-year-old man who changed his first name to King, and talks about how he has a hard time focusing on his work because he has so many women coming after him. But simultaneously talks about how he always does the right thing, and when they asked him why, he said that it was because he watched Power Rangers growing up. So I don't think I'm going to be rooting for him.
I've never really liked Bobby Green, but yeah, changing the name and yeah, saying stuff like that women thing, like there's people that can say things like that and it comes off as really funny. And then for whatever reason, when he says things like that, it doesn't come off as like he's having a good time and joking around. It's like he believes his own BS, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Which
the other thing that I'm really excited about, see Patty, is, and we're gonna put a side by side. Are you in the doc? Can you see the two images here of so Patty is, and we'll put this on here so you'll be able to see what we're talking about. Patty is absolutely shredded right now.
He's definitely leaner than normal.
Yeah. He, and I don't know how long ago this picture was taken, but he is abs on abs. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 8-pack. He's got an 8-pack of abs, super lean, and famously, when he's not training for a fight, just gets very fat, and you can see another picture of him here.
That's not him, right?
Pretty sure it's Patty.
I don't think that's him. I mean, further down where he's got his fat face and the blunt in his mouth or whatever it is, like that's him. But this other guy, that's not him.
I'm pretty sure it's him. It might be Louis Capaldi, but I'm pretty sure it's Patty Pimblett. But it might be Louis Capaldi. I don't know. Let us know in the comments.
I've heard that name before, but not the best with anyone outside of the mixed martial arts world, essentially.
So Patty said the UFC must want him to beat King Green up because he hasn't got an effing chance. He's an idiot. You know what I mean? He's an absolute sausage, he said.
Which that's pretty much the lowest possible thing.
Yes.
For someone from Liverpool. If they call you a sausage, you're just...
Or donut. Is that...
I've never heard that
Gordon
one.
Ramsay called people donuts a lot. You freaking donut! He says that a lot.
But anyway, he's a sausage.
Patty said, you're changing your name at 40. I don't know. CTE is real. And then he says, I'm not going to call him King. He says, he's a little bit chinny now. I can't do a Patty accent. I wish I could. Not even the Jalen Turner one. He got knocked out clean by Drew Dober, as well as a couple months before that. He's been knocked out a few times, but that Julian Turner one, your chin is not the same after something like that. And then the other one, and we'll show you this picture as well, he said, I've smoked much stronger green than this guy. So that's fun.
That's a good line.
That's a good line. That's a nasty line by him.
That is.
He said, this mushroom has actually changed his name to King, so you can officially call me the Kingslayer on July 28th.
That was also a good line. And
That's
I
good.
also like mushroom. I've heard the whole absolute sausage
absolute sausage
many times, but I've never heard the mushroom, but I like that. The mushroom has actually changed his name to King, so you can officially call me the Kingslayer on July 20th. Like,
That's pretty good.
I can hear it in my head. And
I know.
I like it. The mushroom.
That was
we should
way
start
too
calling people
proper.
mushrooms.
That was pretty good accent, but it was way too proper. You sound like you have an education and no CTE.
I'm a bit too posh, myself.
That's
so.
true. Just in general. This is probably a good time to talk about how weird this card is. It's happening in Manchester, I believe, in England, and it starts at like the middle. It starts in the middle of the night. I think the main event's going to be at 5 or 6 a.m., and that's so all of us in America, the country that funds these fights and this entire sport, it's so that we can watch it in prime time where they'll make the most money so they can keep putting this on for everyone around the world. You're welcome.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I have a bedtime. I have a routine. I have things I have to do. We're a country that produces things and does things and
Takes no summer breaks.
we can't just, get a poor night's sleep. The whole world will suffer if we get a poor night's sleep. So this is exactly how it should be. I'm insulted when they have a fight in Abu Dhabi or Perth or wherever else, and they do it at a nice time for them. It's like, I guess you just hate money.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to be really excited to cut that clip out of context for the shorts and then watch people in the comments remind you that if they'd done it at a normal time, like a late night time in England, it would have started at like 3 p.m. for us, and we would have been to bed even earlier.
Well, yeah, but again, we have things to do.
During the day, we got things to do.
Middle of a Saturday, I mean, who knows? I might put up some shelves. I might mow my lawn. I might take a nap.
Proliferate
I might
freedom.
Be playing video games.
Right.
There's a lot of important stuff going on.
And another important thing to mention, and a question that I want to ask openly to the UFC and see if they have the courage to answer this. So, fighters wear mouth guards, but they only wear them on their top teeth. It's known that you can lose teeth in MMA. You get punched hard in the mouth, even with a mouth guard. You can have dental problems. How are they going to solve that? In Manchester, England, do they have dentists there?
It might not be a problem because I don't know if they have many teeth.
Yeah, but the fighters will have teeth. Like the American fighters going over there, are they going to have to bring their own dentist?
That's true. I didn't think about that. That's serious.
Right. So, anyways, things to think about. We got Tom Aspinall and Curtis Razor Blades.
The real main event of the evening. I
no
am fully on the Tom Aspinall hype train. I think he is just the new breed of mixed martial artist who has truly been a mixed martial artist rather than a Kyokushin karate guy first or whatever. Like, he's been doing all of, MMA since he was a little kid. And, man, he moves beautifully. His leg kicks could chop down a tree. He has sick jiu-jitsu, crazy knockout power. He's the total. He moves fast.
Amen.
Fast for a heavyweight. He's the total package.
I
think he could maybe beat John Jones.
I was going to ask you what you thought of him with John Jones.
I don't know about like John in his prime. If he, were a little bit younger and was still heavy, but I don't know.
That'd be, it'd be really interesting. Everybody's talking about Alex Pereira versus Jones, but Aspinall would be a really interesting one to see Pereira fight because I don't know if Pereira's really fought a capable wrestler.
I actually saw Aspinall talking about a fight with Pereira a day or two ago. And Aspinall said that as soon as the round started, he would spear him, just like rugby tackle.
I saw that, to take him down.
Yeah, and I mean, I like Pereira, Chama, but I think anybody who has a little bit of wrestling and some striking defense would be a serious problem for him.
Yeah, Pereira's been training. Who does Pereira train with again?
Glover Teixeira.
Teixeira, there we go. And he's been wrestling with Glover. I think that Pereira is extremely physically gifted, so who knows what could happen, but I think it'd be fun to see him on the ground.
It'd be great.
A couple of key points about Tom Aspinall leading up to this fight. His hometown put a mural up of him as a gladiator. His first comment was that his arms looked too small, which is kind of a fun comment to say. I thought, oh, haha, that's funny. Watching the video on X, he was not joking around. He was a little insulted that his arms
little
looked
tiny
too small.
baby arms.
Well, I think that it was just the muralist. I think that the muralist might have made like the perspective's just a little weird because he's got his arms up and like the gladiator suit is kind of covering his biceps. I think that his arms are actually much bigger than they look in the picture. We'll put the picture here. Do you see this picture? I just pasted it in here.
I do see it.
Another really fun and interesting thing leading up to this fight is Tom Aspinall has told the media that he has been soaking his knuckles in gasoline for 20 minutes a day leading up to this fight.
I have also been seeing this, and I keep meaning to do research to find out if there's any evidence whatsoever of that being a thing, scientifically, or even that other fighters do, or like a wives' tale or anything, and I've seen it like multiple times now, keep thinking to do research. But again, like we mentioned earlier about why it's important that, these poor bastards fight at 3, 4, or 5 in the morning, I've got things to do. You know,
Got
I'm
things to
playing
do.
video games. I'm playing with my dogs, so I don't have time to research this, you know, soak my knuckles in petrol thing. But I like it. I might start doing it myself, and that'll be my research.
Okay, the final thing. Have you seen this? I'm gonna say the final thing is that he was on Nina Drama's podcast, a little interview, and he asked her the most disgusting question, and just kept doubling down and doubling down and doubling down.
I feel like I remember seeing something about this, but it's escaping me right now.
I don't know if I want to show you this because it might ruin Tom Aspinall for you, but I'm gonna send it to you here in the chat, and we're not gonna play it, but you're gonna get to watch Derek react to what he's saying to Nina Drama.
Nina is an interesting character.
And watch, he doubles down. So he shot a shot, I guess.
Oh my goodness! What's going on there? Okay, what we got?
No idea.
What's going on there? Is he trying to make a ridiculous joke, like he says at the end? You know, you've got some crazy questions on your show, and it just didn't land at all. Is he into her, and like because she was in Playboy or whatever, he thinks she's just kind of a little bit easy, maybe?
I think that. So Nina responded to this on X, and she said that he's hilarious and it didn't offend her at all. And it sounds like maybe they cut some of her jokes and questions out of the interview, or there was, it's a much longer interview than that clip. So I think that in context it made a little bit more sense because I think they were both asking questions to make each other very uncomfortable. But that one truly was exceptional. So
yeah,
if you Google Tom Aspinall and Nina Drama and look on YouTube, you can find it yourself. But it's really something. So Curtis Razor Blades fighting Tom Aspinall. I saw him beat Chris Dawkins in Columbus, the firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool in 2018, maybe. The interesting thing about Curtis, this fight apparently was offered to Cyril Gahn first. And Cyril said no, and so Blades took it, and he said in the interview he had a very colorful metaphor, and I don't know if I want to get into it here, but it was fun. So anyway, he's a little offended that he got second best, and he said, it's basically like when the girl you want to date wants to date another guy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is we could do a similar metaphor that he wanted to ask somebody to prom, and she's already going with somebody else, and so the second choice is offended.
Yeah, so not the best. So, I don't know. I didn't do any real research on Leon Edwards and
who.
So I don't.
Yeah. I forgot his name.
Muhammad.
Because he is, I mean, how great and ironic is it that his nickname is Remember the Name, and he's just...
And you literally forgot his name.
Maybe the most... Well, yeah, that was real. I actually did forget it.
I could tell.
But just that he's like the most boring, like nobody likes him. Like nobody. I don't know any Bilal fans. I know there are people out there that are like, oh, he's on a whatever 10 fight win streak, he deserves a shot. And like, okay, I understand that from like a perspective of like fairness, but I don't think there's anybody who's actually a fan of the guy. And Leon,
his mom might be,
had an incredible knockout to win the belt, right? Against Usman. But other than that, he's kind of a decision machine too. So
and he was not going to win the decision in that fight.
The only thing that's even remotely interesting to me about it is that Leon's last loss, say that 3 times fast, was to Usman in 2015.
Yeah.
Here in Orlando, actually.
Whoa.
Blahal's last loss was in 2019, so a little bit more recent. But they're both on like these massive win streaks, and
Boring win streaks.
One of them's gonna get snapped, unless we have what happened last time they met in 2021, Edwards and Blahal, which was the fight ending in a no contest because of an eye poke.
Yeah.
So
that would be
might see that again.
And that would almost be appropriate. I will say the one thing, I'm leaning a little bit towards rooting for Leon Edwards.
I am as well, for sure.
I saw a video on X of him today where he's walking, he's like doing a jog through a park, and like somebody, basketball falls out of bounds. Or no, somebody tosses in the basketball, and he kicks the basketball into the hoop clear across court. Just like the coolest accidental trick shot I've ever seen. So
that's pretty sweet.
Pretty neat. So that's the fight rundown. I thought that it would go a little quicker, but here we are, half an hour in or whatever. And but I think we had some good times talking about it.
We did.
What do we got next?
Time for some weekly wrist locks. I like that.
Yeah. So we're not going to give you betting locks. We're going to give you wrist locks.
Yes.
I don't know.
Which essentially, wrist locks are basically a meme submission.
Yeah.
In kind of a trolling type submission
Absolutely.
as well. And
Absolutely.
so I think it kind of fits. It's time for the weekly wrist locks. Starting with the bloodbath of the week.
Bloodbath of the week. I don't have Edwards and Blal. I think that I kind of have it narrowed down to maybe Aspinall Blades or Oban Elliott, the Welsh gangsta, versus Preston Pressure Parsons.
See, yeah, it could be that. I was thinking that it might be Christian Leroy Duncan.
Oh, hell yeah.
He should really lean into that Leroy Jenkins meme if he doesn't already.
CLD.
I don't know. But
yeah.
Versus Rodriguez, simply because if that scar tissue of Rodriguez's second mouth that he has between his eyebrows opens up again, it's like, how like the Diaz brothers cut really easily just because they've been at it for so long, they have so much scar tissue. Like I could see that being a problem.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
His whole forehead essentially is one giant scar tissue mass at this point.
Let's go with two. Let's do Christian Leroy Duncan versus RoboCop and Oban Elliott, the Welsh gangsta, versus Preston Pressure Parsons. Lock it in. Wrist lock it in. Certified bloodbanger.
You missed my hopefully that sound comes through on the mic. I hit him with a...
I got it. Yeah. Oh. That'll be our graphic. Nickname of the week. Nickname of the week. What do we got?
I gotta pull up verdict here. Why don't you start it off?
Yeah, I've got it narrowed down. There are a couple cool ones. I think anytime you have the Savage in your name, that's pretty cool. But the Don, so this Cowlin the Don Logren, I'm hoping that's like a Godfather reference. And you skip close to the top anytime you reference the Godfather. I think that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. The Baltic Gladiator, obviously very cool. I'm being drawn to Oban, the Welsh gangster Elliott.
The Welsh gangster is a great name. And also, man, Wales, what a great flag. Am I right?
Yeah, great flag.
See that little flag there with the dragon on it? That's great. Yeah. I mean, really...
It might have to be that.
Our flag should probably have a dragon on it somewhere, I would think.
You're right. Or an eagle. It's something cool.
There's a lot of good nicknames on here, honestly. Like Meatball Molly. Meatball is just a fun nickname. Totally. Like you said, the Baltic Gladiator. That's classic. Does anyone know what BDK stands for with Kiefer Crosby's nickname?
Ooh, hold on. BDK.
Side note, against Meatball Molly, we have Bruna Brazil, whose nickname is the Special One. That might be like lamest nickname of the week.
I don't know why he's called BDK.
I don't know, but
Let's see if AI knows. Gemini. Hello, Google Gemini. Do you know why? What's his name? Kiefer Crosby.
Crosby.
His nickname.
But there's so many great nicknames. Arnold Allen, who's a very good, exciting, highly skilled guy who has got a great career ahead of him. Almighty Arnold Allen, like that, just great alliteration there. Patty the Batty just rolls off the tongue. It's great. Rocky for Leon Edwards became perfect when he got that win against Usman.
Yeah, in the last second. Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think I got to give it to the Welsh Gangster.
I will say, if the Welsh Gangster wasn't going to win Certified Nickname of the Week, I would probably have to give it to Curtis Razor Blades. Just like perfect with his name,
Yeah, it's a good one too.
And I'm not going to give it to Patty the Batty, even though that's a pretty cool alliterative or rhyming name, I guess, not alliterative. But Curtis Razor Blades, I think that one's cool. But it's got to be the Welsh Gangster, right?
Yeah, I agree, 100%. We've got the American Gangster. We need the Welsh Gangster.
Do you want to lock it in?
Lock it.
Okay. I don't know how to react to that yet. Okay,
it's funny because when you wrist lock yourself, it just looks like you're, a little light in the loafers, or I'm not sure
I don't think you
what
say
the
that.
proper term is
for
that. But hey, it's bound to happen eventually. So
yeah, true. Do you want to bring everybody up to speed on the new segment?
Yeah, let's do it. So we're gonna talk about the bar fight brawler of the week. This person doesn't necessarily have to be like a brawler who just puts their heads down and swings haymakers. It's basically who on this card do you want backing you up in a bar fight? Because,
tough guys.
We both get in bar fights very often, have a lot of experience in it. Yep. And so, just be nice to have one of these people at your back.
Yeah.
Bar fight brawler of the week.
And we know all the qualities of a good bar fighter, so yeah.
Indeed. So
do you have any thoughts?
Well, so the easy choice here, I feel like, is Tom Aspinall, just because he's the biggest, and he's so skilled and well-rounded and everything. But kind of like putting aside the weight classes, let's say, just to keep it interesting.
Yeah,
I kind of like I need to see him fight more because I haven't actually seen him fight. But like I said, the Baltic Gladiator, just I imagine that he's probably fought in some local political unrest skirmishes and things like that with a nickname like that. I mean, the Baltics, in the 90s were not a good time. So, but I also like what's his name who hates the French.
That's what I was gonna go with.
The energy that he was giving at that weigh-in and stuff makes me think that in a bar fight, he's got you, man.
Yeah, I was going to say Callan Logren, or however you say his name. You go into the belly of the beast in France and just are flipping the bird to the crowd and everything. But the more I think about it, the more I think, what are the French going to do about it?
Yeah, it's not like, he was in any real danger. But the spirit of it would translate extremely well to bar fights. So I think that's a great pick.
It probably has to be Modesto Buskauskas, right?
Yeah, pending us actually Gladiator. Learning anything about him.
Literally anything about him. Yeah.
So, maybe we're totally off base there, and then we'll go with a guy who's, we also don't know how to pronounce his name, so we don't know a whole lot about him, but Callan Logren or whatever.
Lonergan. Do you want to lock it in? Okay.
It's locked in.
Bar fight brawler of the week. New segment. So a little non-304 content is going to be the first ever induction into the Fight Club Rejects Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so this it's gonna vary quite a bit. You know, we're gonna talk about what's a Hall of Fame fall from grace. What's a Hall of Fame one-liner at a press conference? What's a Hall of Fame stare down? What's a Hall of Fame like post-fight interview? Like we're gonna kind of just go all over the place here, pick some of our favorite moments so that we can show you guys the clips and react to them and stuff like that. But I kind of think starting it off with like a fall from grace or something like that didn't land and made somebody look really bad just in honor of, like I said, Patty and his thing was on my mind. So I've got something in mind for that. I don't know if you have anything yourself.
I've got a couple more recent ones. So,
okay. Why don't you go first? I want to see if you're thinking what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking a little less about, fighting falls from grace, because I think that, fighters have their peak and then they have their, the periods where they're, they wane and eventually retire. So I think that's a little silly. But I would probably go recent example with Ian Machado Gary.
Yes.
Because I remember watching him in interviews. He's like standing there with his nice little red tuxedo, satin collars, silk collars, whatever, and he's talking. They're like in the interview, oh, what a nice young man he is. And then he's just like turned into this very hateable guy for a lot of reasons. You can watch some of the other podcasts that we have that talk about that. But definitely in my mind, at least, went from being a guy that what seemed like an up and comer, the next kind of Connor, just really cool, likable guy, and had the hateable moments when he had to, but just turned into a total tool.
Yeah, again, bringing up Chael, right? Chael talks about how there is like nothing that is more of a draw or that like people like more in combat sports than a cool heel, right? Chael is a cool heel. Conor McGregor, like maybe the ultimate cool heel, like he's certainly not a good guy, but he's cool. And Ian, like he went from really nice to like trying to be the heel, but he doesn't come off as the cool heel. He comes off as like the desperate heel, maybe, So Ian was one of the ones I was thinking of. The other one I was thinking of was Israel Adesanya.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness, like he won the belt in that incredible fight with Kelvin Gastelum. And was just untouchable, just Paulo Costa, all these different guys who were just smoking. And then he gave his famous interview about Pereira saying, that guy's going to be sitting in a bar talking about how he beat me once. And now, oh my gosh, there's so many memes about how Izzy's going to be saying I beat that guy once. And then there's the whole thing with Strickland, destroying him. And
his dog.
Then the dog thing. I was gonna mention, and then he was the way he's handled things with Dricus du Plessis, and I feel like there are not nearly as many people in Izzy's corner as there used to be.
Certainly not. And I also think that the anime thing he overdid. Like, it was kind of fun seeing him as this like anime like meme lord, and then he just doubled down into it and started like wearing a dog collar and stuff, which is like weird with the thing with his dog. So it just kind of turned into from meme lord to cringe lord. I've got an honorable mention here, and I just said that mine doesn't come from like actual fighting results, but I'm gonna say this, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, Ben Askren."
Yeah. Ooh.
Fall from grace. Like,
gosh, who he beat? He beat somebody with a bulldog choke in his UFC debut. I don't remember who right now. But like nobody even remembers that because then his next fight was with Masvidal, and then that was all she wrote. Man, it was
He beat Robbie Lawler in his UFC
with
debut
with
a bulldog choke, and then in 5 seconds into round one gets clocked by Jorge.
And he was a killer before the UFC. Like people were talking about how great he was, and man, it was like that. Whew.
Yeah, he was
rough moment.
Yeah. So I think that's what I'm gonna go with for maybe the fight related, because he was just never the same after that.
I think that's a great pick.
He had one UFC win, and then he lost to Masvidal, and then he went on UFC fight night and lost to Maya, and then he lost to Jake Paul. So you lose to Jake Paul, that's completes your fall from grace, I think. So
yeah, and I mean honestly, I didn't even remember that he had more fights in the UFC after Masvidal. In my head, he just retired and quit after that because it was so bad. I didn't even remember that he fought Damian Maia.
I think that he would also, like, Askren would be the first one to say that he is a fall from grace. Like, that ruined him, I think.
He doesn't take
really
himself
him
too
up.
seriously, I don't think so.
He seems like a good guy.
All right.
Well, anything else for the good of the order?
Not really. Just, thank you to the Europeans for not making me change my bedtime.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Or, well, really thank you to Dana.
To Dana.
To
Dana for doing the right thing for America.
The Europeans certainly didn't choose it, but...
America first, so...